Yes, it's that computer. It's painfully slow. I'm on. Do we have people on yet? Yeah, or do we have people on yet? Yes? Okay. All right, guys, so we'll get started again. The next section that we have is called to engage or not to engage. That is the question. I think we've been covering that pretty heavily. I feel like a lot of this has been covered, but since we had this scheduled for the online group as well, just in case there's people who tuned in just for this piece, let's go over it. Let's talk about it. And this time I want the folks that are watching on the Facebook Live to join in as well. Chris is going to monitor, and she's going to talk about some of those things. So what we have on the list is when and how to engage the trolls. So identify a tipping point on when to act and when not to act. So you guys give me some examples of when we should act, when we should not act, as far as that, when is that tipping point? What have you guys learned so far? Okay, so when they're giving kind of gross misinformation. Okay, good. Threats, when we have some threats coming up, definitely want to engage there. Potential fraud, definitely want to engage in it, or at least pay close attention until you can try to figure out what it is, right? What else? What are some examples that where we wouldn't engage?
Somewhat factual, but not opinion. Yeah, opinion.
Opinion, somewhat factual. Good.
Public is responding for you.
If the public is responding for you, correct. Especially if it's you get some knowledgeable people on there. I've seen situations where PIOs have gotten on, or other firefighters not on the fire, that have gotten on and come in and educated some folks and educated them very, very well. So good point when the others are educating the trolls.
Another online comment was political rhetoric.
Political rhetoric.
You don't want to engage in a political conversation on your Facebook page. Not as a federal agency. I don't know about as a state agency, but you don't want to. And another one, Sarah Douglas was saying she would act if there was profanity. We had that discussion. You might go over that a little bit.
Yeah, we did talk about profanity. I personally, if it's gross profanity, that I definitely would hide that comment. But sometimes, I mean, I don't think I heard the whole conversation here. I might have stepped out. But definitely profanity is a concern, but it's something that happens.
Just so, Sarah, so you know, and other people online, we had the discussion that the problem is freedom of speech. I mean, freedom of speech is not a problem, don't get me wrong. I mean, the problem is that I believe in freedom of speech. That freedom of speech trumps most everything. So profanity is just another form of speech. But an attorney told me that we don't have to necessarily put up with anything we wouldn't put up with at a public meeting. There's no reason why, because the forum changed, that our civil sensibilities should change. I think if someone says it, I now think that perhaps hiding it and perhaps doing a direct message to this person and saying, we appreciate your comments on the page, but profanity, this is a family page. It's meant for families to be able to, and we don't want to offend anyone. So just please curb your language and, try to deal with it that way. But, deleting somebody's comment or blocking them or something like that can have profound repercussions when you're a federal page. So just be careful and find more creative ways to engage people who do that.
I agree. Was there some more comments?
As Laura was reminding us, unless it's germane to the conversation, that's a good comment that you can put on, and then you can delete or hide something.
Anything else here in the room? All right. When to use a social media decision tree. Did we talk about that? We didn't. All right. Do you want to? Get out of your way. Okay. So while we are, she asked me to do a little song and dance. I don't think you guys want to do that. I have a brand new hip. I might hurt it. All right. What? Okay. Do you use the filter on Facebook that automatically hides certain words? Do you? Yeah, you can. I do. I do on our forest Facebook page. I don't know that I turn it on for fires, but I definitely do turn it on for our forest pages. Those of you guys that run pages, do you have that filter on, Kathy? Yes. Kathy does have the filter on for her forest page. So yeah, North Carolina does not care about profanity. So it sounds like some people do use it and some people don't. I think monitoring is a key regardless of if you have that on or not.
Do you create the words on that blocking page, or does Facebook create it for you?
The what was that?
Well, the words you block, do you have a thing where you can put in the words you want blocked, or is it something Facebook's already put together with a dictionary of profanity?
So the question is, do you make up the dictionary of what it picks up? No, Facebook does have that setting, and I think it's just profanity, correct? There's a medium and a strong and off. So there's 3 levels. Okay, so Forest Service does give us direction on how to set it. What is that?
Yeah, and that's what I don't remember what they make you. I'm pretty sure it's set to the strongest, and it just hides the comments. So like
Correct.
You go in and see them in gray.
Mhm.
I think the word is not so bad. I can unhide it.
So, yeah, Kathy says that there is some direction. She's unsure how strong that direction or where that setting should be in that direction. However, the comment was that when Facebook does pick it up, it turns it gray, and it's got 3 little dots underneath it, and you can click those 3 little dots and unhide the comment if it's a mistake or if you think that it needs to be, that it is appropriate and you can have it show, you can unhide it.
Here's
Here's
when we
the
were talking
decision.
about this decision triage tree. So you assess the message, start here, assess the message. Do you want to respond? No, no response. Do you want to? Can you add value? Yes. Then respond in kind and share. Can you add value? No, then thank you very much for your comment. Assess it if it is, this is to the negative side. Do you want to respond? Evaluate the purpose. Is it an unhappy customer? Yes. Are the facts correct? Is it an unhappy customer? No. Is it just a dedicated complainer? Yes. Are the facts correct? That's what I said. Remember, is it right? Dedicated complainer? No. Is it I can't read it. Oh, a comedian wannabe. Sometimes it just is. Yes. Then let the post stand and monitor. If it is yes, the facts are correct, or you get to are the facts correct? No. Gently correct the facts. Does the customer need or deserve more information? Take responsible action to fix the issue and let the customer know the action taken. So that's the part where you go in and you say to the person, I'd love to talk to you offline. It sounds like, this is where the facts are not correct. We can gently correct the facts and then say, does this person just need re-education? Do they just not know and we need to maybe bring them in a little closer and feed them information? If are the facts correct? Yes. Is the problem being faced? And then yes, explain what's being done to correct the issue. If it is not being faced, let the post stand. If it's not something that we're handling or doing whatever. So it's just it can help you make sort of a decision about when to engage or when not and how to engage.
I like the comedian wannabe. My first thought was Hugh Gregley. Some people might know what that means. Laura McConnell. Laura McConnell's being a little ornery. We will put this in the resource folder for folks. Okay. So one of the notes here is how to respond directly. Personal, professional, incident specific can be different. So of course, an incident specific can be different than a agency page. Incident specific, talk about the facts. I think on an agency page, you might go a little farther into explaining things, why things were done, how they were handled. And then personal definitely can be different, and you don't want to handle all three the same way. And what are some ways to bring trolls closer? Give me some ideas of how to bring those trolls in. What did we talk about? Invite them in. Absolutely. Face to face. Engage with them. Bring the human aspect to them instead of the screen. I don't think we want to meet them outside, Dawn. That might be that personal response here on the list. Do we have Nope. Nothing there? Okay. And then we don't want to get in an argument on Facebook. That's the key. Give facts and don't engage. And people continue to, you'll get those ones that try to keep poking the bear and just don't get irritated. Just don't engage. Give the facts and then go on your way. Good?
Yeah. So we decided to add another. Oh,
yes.
Go ahead.
No song and dance. I'm telling you, I might break my hip.
And no sock puppets.
No
That
sock
goes for people
puppets.
online who want dancing and sock puppets. We're not going to do that. Well,
It's a
Dawn will later.
troublemaker.
Yes, there's troublemakers out there. So we're going to take a little time that we have left here and talk a little about monitoring. We didn't talk. We talked that you should monitor. And you know what's funny? There used to be a lot of tools. There used to be a tool called Addictomatic, which was fabulous. I searched for everything in that thing. There used to be Technorati. There used to be Ice Rocket. There used to be Monitor, Monittor. They're all gone, and I'm not sure why. Maybe because the Google search engine got so good. But there's a few left. I found
Those
them.
are old school, Chris.
Yes, I'm sorry. Those are because I'm old, so those are old school. So, one of your most powerful tools is going to be Google. Okay, when you're going to search something, say we put in, since we know there'll be a lot, we'll put in Notre Dame. Okay, and we want to do a Google search. Now, when this comes up, what comes up is, oh, that's horrible. What comes up is under here, all news, images, maps, videos, and more. Okay, so if you want to just look up news, you can narrow your search down, and this will give you all the information you need that comes from news sources: the New York Times, Washington Post, Fox 8, CNN, People Magazine, TechCrunch, all kinds of people. And many pages. If you look at the bottom, you can pages and pages and pages of news sources. So if you're looking on your Fire, you're going to want to look first at news. Now you might also want to look under videos, and that should narrow down the videos that you can look at. And people may have, what you don't know is whether or not people have shot video of your incident. But this gives you the opportunity to see what videos are out there. And it makes sense in this day and age to search for videos, because everybody's an iReporter. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody can shoot video. So, and I'm not speaking of, although it happens, public sneaking into the fire to shoot video. I'm talking about firefighters shooting video, and they post it. And they post it to their Facebook page, which they have not set the privacy on, so it's available to anybody to see if they gave it the name, or if you're searching by Notre Dame or the name of your fire and they have posted that name anywhere in there, it'll come up. So it's a good way just to do any kind of searches on Google. I wish that was a.
If you were going to use their post, say it was really good and was before you got your hands on some media and you want to use it, you have to contact that person to confirm.
Are you talking about a media video, or it's like a private person?
Fireman doing a
Okay, first of all, don't. Is that short enough for you? We don't normally post or repost things like a news media video or something that we find. And let's look at just news media. Why would we not repost on our page a great story about fighting the fire? It was all right. Why would we not repost it, that link to their station? Exactly, not copyright. It's because tomorrow the story might not be so good. And what we've said to the public is, this is a source you can believe. Watch these people, and tomorrow the story is not good. So that's great that they do it. You might want to write them a little note, say thank you very much. That was a great story. You got it all right. Please, contact us again. But oh my goodness, don't link to somebody. The only kind of links, and this is my policy. Might be other people do it differently. I don't link to anything that isn't an official source. If it's FEMA, if it's a fire department, if it's the sheriff's department, if it's Red Cross, I will post a link to them, to something local. But I'm not posting to anyone who's not official. And if there were a firefighter one that I wanted to use, now the problem we have with most photos and videos that come from firefighters is that somebody in there's not wearing their PPE, right? Am I right? Okay.
100% accurate.
So we have to be careful. So say you found that ephemeral video where posted by a firefighter where everyone is in perfect synchronicity with their uniform and everything's right. Yes, you would contact them. You'd say, hey, we saw the video you had, and you'd get the original. You wouldn't pull it off their Facebook page. You'd ask them for their phone and download the original photo from them. And, as long as you ask them, it would be okay. But, I don't take other people's things. I don't want them to take mine. I don't like it when people take my stuff and post it as theirs. If somebody downloads a video and then they show it and they don't. And if I'm going to say it came from so-and-so hotshot crew, I better have told them I did this because otherwise they're going to find out. So it's just a good idea. And photos you have to be careful of because you don't know if they're copyrighted or not or anything like that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell when you got a share button. Like,
Well, if somebody posts it, it's considered public property if they post it on their Facebook page, and if the share button is there, that means their page is not private. If you can't see a share button, they have privacy settings set so that only their friends can see it, and the only way to do that is to make sure their friends can't share it with other people. So you don't see a share button, it's because they don't want to make it public. They can make that individual post public if they want, and then share it. But I don't share from someone else's Facebook page to the incident Facebook page. And we don't follow people on our Facebook page. We don't follow anybody. They can follow us, but we don't friend anybody. They friend us. They like our page. So that's that. But we monitor and we look for it. But mostly I mean, if they happen to have spectacular footage, I might, usually at morning briefing, I'm asking people, if you have any photos that you took when you were on your break, not during your day, because we'd like you to focus on your job. That it's always good to put in the message that we don't and don't send these to us during the day unless you're on your lunch break or something else. You can bring them in after work and hand them to us at night. We'll just download them off your phone, and we do ask them for those kinds of things. But their supervisor's supposed to be taking care of when they're shooting photos and things. But we ask them if you have something. If they got a good fire whirl or something else going on, they're going to stop and take pictures, and they're going to have a picture of it. So, we try to make sure they do it safely and say, but we'd like you to come in and give it to us. And often they will. And like we say, if you find a person who's got good stuff, if they know you like their photos, they'll bring you in more than you can ever possibly use. And that which is great, because then you got eyes and ears on the ground. But you just have to be careful to make sure that everybody's got the right PPE on and, So Google is one of the best for searching. For videos, you can go to maps and see maps of where I'm sure Notre Dame is. Yeah, there's University of Notre Dame, the whole different Notre Dame, Indiana. So that wasn't very useful to you. All news, images. If you want pictures of this, more pictures than you can shake a stick at. Be careful of, if you look for pictures, you just have to kind of, I look at, it tells you underneath who did these. Variety Magazine, ABC7 Nevada, Wired, MSNBC, CNN. And in my view, pictures that the media has posted publicly are public. That's the general rule. I would give them credit. This photo from CNN, or, if 60 Minutes was at your fire, you'd ask them, can we use any photos that you publish on your 60 Minutes page? They'll probably say yes, and I give them credit because it's fair. We didn't take this, 60 Minutes took it. That's why it's a great picture, because we didn't take it with our little camera. The guy with the big camera took this picture. So, no, this is a great place to go search for things. You could spend all day searching for these. Now, here I will tell you is one really good use I found for Pinterest. Who in here has ever used Pinterest? All right, mostly women. Isn't that funny? Who uses them for anything besides recipes? Okay, so just to explain Pinterest, if you're not familiar with it, it was invented by a guy who was an, if I say it right, entomologist, the insects. Isn't that entomologist? And he pinned bugs on boards. These are beetles, and these are butterflies, and these are things. And he thought, I can categorize these things physically when I pin them. What if I could pin the things I found on the internet by under a certain board? Like I want to collect pictures of beetles and pin those, and I want to collect, So he created Pinterest. So anything I have an interest in, I can pin to a board, and I can give that board a name. These are vacation places I want to go. These are infograms I want to save, or these are dishes, recipes I want to cook. So you pin these things to your board, and you can divide it into chunks. Well, so if you have a Pinterest board, if you start one, it serves two purposes: archiving, and to be able to share it, with your team or somebody else, or go back to it yourself. You create a board that's the ABC fire. And when you find things like this, you open the article, you pin it. I have, if you notice, this app, which lets me, I don't have to be on a site that has a pin on it. I can pin any site I get to and put it on a board. So I say, oh, this one looks good. Millions in Notre Dame donations pouring in. It's all in New York Times. And I say, okay, well, I want to pin that. And it asks me, which pin do you want to save? And I can pick a picture. And it'll say, what board do you want to put it on? I go, I'll put that on I have one called Work. I'll pin it on my work board. Okay, it's done. Now, imagine if I save all of those to every article I find. I now have one place where I have all of my documentation, media documentation, or other articles, anything we found. I can download it all to a jump drive. Excuse me. Off in the microphone. And also I have it for later myself if I want to refer to some article that maybe for a class, if I remember one that went badly or went well or something, and I can refer to it. So there is a use that I found for Pinterest, is being able to use it for archiving and documentation. One idea. I'm always trying to find a way to use Pinterest on a fire. So not if I can make it invisible. I can make it completely private so that only I can see it. I can excuse me. I can make it private and share it with certain people. Like I can make it private and share it with the public affairs officer. So only she and I can see it.
How do you get that little icon in?
I don't know. Remember, I don't know how I made these happen. If anyone can remember how I make these happen, I don't remember. I'll have to think about how I got them. If I knew what this was called, like, we know that this is a taskbar or a start menu, we know what those are called. I don't know what that's called, so I can't even Google it and say, how do I add things to the... I'll figure it out at some point. I'll let you know. But another one I just found is DuckDuckGo. I haven't even heard of this one. I just searched engines and I went to look at this one. When I looked this up, and I put in Gatlinburg fires just for the fun of it to see what would still come up. And this one has Everyman Travel Company did something. This is Knox News. This is CNN.com. Stuff on Facebook. The Gatlinburg Fire Department. Wikipedia has the 2016 Great Smoky Mountain wildfires. You know what? There's my original argument about why people should use social media was Wikipedia. We were on a forest in Southern Oregon, and I said, look what I found. And I pulled up the forest on the Wikipedia page, and it's about 12 pages of information about their forest. I said, who in this room wrote this? They're all like, I said, someone else is telling your story, and you have nothing to say about it. You can edit it if you want to, but you didn't even know it was there. Who in the room knew it was there? None of them knew it was there. I said, that's because if you're not engaged, someone else will tell your story. And that's why you need to engage. And sure enough, you'll find stuff on Wikipedia, but it's public sourced, it's crowd-sourced information, and people can put whatever they want in there. It could be all wrong, and it's still going to be there. And people will look. And who has never gone to Wikipedia to look for some information? Okay, I rest my case. All right.
So, Chris Wonderly says, are they browser extensions?
Ooh. I don't think they're browser extensions because I don't believe I've ever added.
Yeah, just that and that I was just looking, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Good job, Chris.
So good job. Find the Pinterest browser extension or the TweetDeck, but which is kind of odd. Yeah, I just don't remember how I got. It was a long time ago and I've forgotten. So anyway, here's another one that looks like it's got a whole lot of things about the Gatlinburg fires, and there's just a lot more. So that would be a good search engine. DuckDuckGo. I've never heard of that one. The idea is you're just trying to gather, you're trying to listen. You're listening over the fence. You want to hear what the world is saying about you. Sometimes these search engines don't pick up all of the local media, especially if it's really small. So if you know that the Knoxville News is really small, you could just look under Knoxville News and do a search right on their page, or if you have certain TV stations. But it usually picks up most of those. But if you know something is a really small paper, sometimes it doesn't. I think I missed some when we were in Oregon, in Sisters, Oregon, and there's something called the Nugget News. The little local paper. And when I did a search, I knew they'd come and done an article and nothing was in there, so we have to go to the Nugget and look for it there. And then, of course, they're searching on TweetDeck. This right up here, little search icon. It lets you search for a user. It lets you search for a topic. And when you do the search and you say, what do I want to search for? And you say, I want to search for, okay, so we have, I'm trying to think of something that's not Notre Dame, because remember it filled up the thing yesterday. I don't want to do that one again. Something that's, what's going on right now? Current news issue. Something? No one has been reading the news.
Do the lady from Colorado.
Okay, let's see.
It was soul, hashtag find soul or something.
Find soul?
Yeah, that was her name. Well,
Hashtag, let's try if we just do hashtag soul.
there you go. That's her.
Nope, that's in Spanish. I don't know. That's in...
Popped up.
Yeah, not sure.
P-A-I-S.
That's her last name?
Yeah. You'll get plenty.
Okay. So we have that person. Now, here's another thing. If I want to do another search, and I want to say, let's look up Colorado. This is crazy woman.
You might find our picture. It might be.
Look, it's Dawn. Okay, so now as I look down these, I'm going to look for, see if there's any other hashtags. I'm looking through. I don't see any hashtags. There's a thread. Don't see any hashtags. I see some @ signs. No hashtags. That's very interesting because it's not very often you find this without hashtags. But you do find, here's QAnon. I'm not sure what that means, that hashtag. Denver Social, we have links to media places. So I'm scrolling down just looking for a hashtag anywhere. But most of these here, hashtag Columbine High School. That doesn't surprise me. So you could say, well, that's interesting. Let's see what they have on that. So I follow now hashtag Columbine, if I could spell, Columbine High School. Now we have another column. So now I have 3 columns all searching for different things. I mean, same thing, but they're searching for different words. And what do you know? I have different things coming up because people use different. So you kind of need to search for everything. Now it is just searching Twitter, but what you'll find in here is YouTube links. So you're actually searching a lot of places. You're only searching for where people used a hashtag.
Say an 18-year-old woman, the FP.
Okay. So you find then you're able to download. There are links to Huffington Post. There are links to print media that have nothing to do with Twitter. Plus, you're getting to see Twitter. So you're searching for a lot of things on here. So between this, DuckDuckGo, Google search, is there any other search engines that our online people use anymore? I mean, like I said, all the ones I used to use don't seem to be around anymore. Anyone here use any? Where do you go look for stuff if you want to find out what happened? You turn on the TV and watch the news. Nobody has any personal ones? I don't know. Is there any online? No. Okay. So I think, like I said, if there's nothing else you can do, if you have nobody to help you. Now, here's another thing. You should on Google search, you can do a Google alert. So, because I can't remember the website, Google Alerts. Google Alerts they will find things for you. Create an alert about. Let's do. Is it IAS? I was trying to find that woman's name. AIS.
AIS.
OP. Okay, I say we'll create that one, and then I say create another alert about Columbine High School. I say create that alert. So what this is doing is creating alerts that it will then send to me at my email address. You can set it for them to come up as you want them. Let's see if it does that. Can't find it. There's a settings in here. I haven't done this in a while. I have alerts set for myself. So if for some reason somebody mentions me, I get no. I don't get them very often. I'll have you know that. And for Nemo, I have them set so that if I see something, let's see. If I edit this, here is how often. Do you want it as it happens, or do you want it once a day? Automatic sources, or do you want only blogs, only news, only video? What do you want? You can pick things. What languages? Do you want any language, or do you only want them in English? Any region? So I could pick, the United States, obviously, or you could put any region. Just leave it around the world. Only the best results, or do you want all results? And where do you want them delivered? In this case, I have them sent to my Gmail account. You could have them sent, if you set up a Gmail account for the fire, have them sent there. You don't want them to come to your Gmail account. And then you update this. So it's nice to have those because then you don't even have to go look for your news alerts. It comes to you. And that's the latest trend in things, is that creating RSS feeds in some way that the news is delivered where you're at. So that's the best way to search for things is to have it come to you. But I believe you can only do that with the Google Alerts. I don't know how you do it. You can't do it on TweetDeck that I know of, except that on TweetDeck it'll continue to just feed into your TweetDeck. So as long as you have it up and you're watching it, it'll come to you. I'm trying to get back and take care of getting rid of this alerts so that I don't get all these alerts. I don't really want all these to come to me. Okay. Any questions about monitoring? Okay. Well, we are done a little bit early today, unless there are some other things that you need to talk about, other things that you still have questions about. Any of the tools? All of the tools? Anything you couldn't figure out how to do? The blog is simple. So feel free to stay here for a bit, and we'll help you if there's some questions you have on putting these together, since we're a bit early, and we'll answer the question. I think you'll find that once you understand where all the parts are in the blog, it's very intuitive to put together. It's just a matter of what you can sometimes you can force it to do things, and sometimes you can't. Like, I want it to do this, but it doesn't do that as a free tool. But there are ways around it that you can make it do some things you'd like it to do. But even just as it stands, it's a relatively simple tool. I can get one up and posted in 5-10 minutes. And then, I'm not saying it has anything on it. I'm saying it's got a headline, it's got a color on the top, and it has a phone number. And that's all it's got on it. And then my first post says, we're just building this, but we want you to know this is where to come for information. And I do it so that I can make it public and I can start handing it out as soon as we're handing out the phone number. I want to be able to print it on those business cards, get it on our first press release, and have something up. I'll make it pretty as we go, and I'll add things as we go. But I'm not worried about having it perfect. I just need to get up a place and say, come here, come look here. You know, if you're not the source of information, you want to be the official source, but that means you have to be there, and you have to have a place for people to search for you. And so the blog gives you a way to do that. All right. Okay, well, that is it for today. Tomorrow, hang on. I'm trying to... I think we're just doing at 8:30. Is that correct? Okay. So tomorrow we have the two things we have tomorrow. Only two things for the online group. We are going to talk about FireNet at 8:30 Eastern time in the morning. Then we are going to switch to a piece about story maps, how to do those, how to apply for an account, how to put them together, what they can do. The story maps part will happen at 10:15 Eastern time. And then we'll be offline from the rest of that way on until we do, but here in the room we'll be doing the scenario. And you'll have a final scenario where you'll work in groups and you'll build all your tools, and just like you would in a real situation. So, if you have questions, now's the time to ask. I mean, it's not like there's a test you have to pass or anything, but you know. So if you have any questions now before we leave, we'll answer those. Anyway, for our online audience, goodbye till tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time in the morning, and that's all.
If